A warm welcome to all the participants. We'll be starting the meeting in next 2 minutes.
So we start.
Give a minute for people to join. A little latecomers. Just
All
a
right.
minute.
So we start. It's 3-1. Unnati, we can proceed.
Okay, sir. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, at Ananta Tattva, we extend a very warm welcome to all our esteemed participants, leaders, and stakeholders joining us today. Today's session is particularly significant as we delve into critical decoding of CPCB issued Plastic Waste Management Amended Rules 2026, along with the key insights on recent show cause notices under the EPR plastic. This discussion is not just about regulatory updates, it is about understanding the practical implications, compliance risk, and strategic opportunities that these changes bring for producers, importers, brand owners, and plastic waste processors. Next slide, please. So, before we start the presentation, I would just like to say a bit of the session protocol. So, kindly, I request all the participants to kindly keep your microphone muted during the session. Please use the raise hand feature for the questions. The Q&A session will be taken up towards the end. Participants are requested to switch on the video while asking the questions. Briefly introduce yourself and your organization before speaking. Keep your questions concise and relevant to the discussion. Now, I would invite our founder and director, Mr. Krunal Goda, to kindly give opening remarks of this session. Krunal sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, Unnati. A warm welcome to all the dignitaries who are participating over here for this important webinar that we are organizing today for decoding the policy of the 10th Amendment on the plastic waste management. And also with regards to this show cause notice that has been issued recently, it is very critical for us to understand that both the notifications that has been issued in the span of 15 days has given a roadmap to the entire stakeholders on what the journey is actually going to be, not just for 5 years, but for next 100 years. And as Anand Tatwa, we have made our best attempt for ensuring that we get aligned with the government mandates, and we also give a kind of an awareness in a layman language to the industry stakeholders. So with this, just to begin with, I would like to introduce our firm, that is Anand Tatwa. Anand Tatwa being founded by myself and Anand Bhai, as one of the industries recognized as a leading organization into the policy advocacy, compliance, risk management and audit. Actively been serving across for more than a network of 20,000 stakeholders, and been recognized by various trade association bodies, and also being advising on regulatory aspects. Next, please.
Unnati, there are chat box which are saying voice is not clear.
So is this the problem that everyone else is also facing? Because I'm able to hear clearly the voices.
No,
I am able
to hear
clearly.
Sir,
Yeah.
your voice is clear.
Only
All right,
your
perfect.
video is garbled. Only your video is garbled. Voice is very clear.
All right, sir. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the participants for being active and also clarifying that the audio has been clear. So just to continue with the journey, Anand Tatwa leadership, who is driving the India's green transition, would like to just have a quick glimpse about it. We have Mr. Anand Padhya, myself, Dr. Vijay Habbu, Mr. Jitendra Singh Thakur, Mr. Sunil Kulshrestha, and Dr. Ninad Gujarati as part of our organization as a board of directors who are driving the sustainability journey along with the stakeholders. Our expertise is into the compliance and risk management. We are into the environmental norm audits. We are into policy advocacy, market intelligence, and business intelligence. Been serving across on all the waste management portfolio, starting from plastic, paper, metal, glass to e-waste, used oil, battery waste, wastewater management, construction and demolition, and tire waste. Next, please. So let me introduce and welcome you all. Welcome to all the panelists who are there with us. We have Dr. Alka Rao from FSSAI as an advisor, who is going to have a special address for this particular session. And I welcome ma'am for this particular session. And thank you for accepting our invite for addressing the industry. Followed by a keynote address by Dr. Habbu. Then myself focusing on the decoding part of it. Followed by Mr. Anand Bhai on the financial dynamics and sustainability. Then we have Mr. Bharat Mehta to speak and give his expert advice, followed by Mr. Haren Sanghvi sir. So I give a warm welcome to all the stakeholders and the panelists for being a part of this particular session. With this, before I begin this particular presentation today, we have Dr. Vijay Habbu to give a keynote address. Alka ma'am would be there with us very shortly. Before that, I would like to invite Dr. Habbu to give us keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, particularly for the honor to give a keynote address. Basically, I was thinking what could be the best preface to this very important webinar. The webinar is important, as most of you would know, being from the plastics industry. What has triggered is the regulation that has been published published on 31st of March, which basically, uh, of course, it has several other features, but the prominent features is the confirmation of the obligations of on various parties, various stakeholders, such as producers, importers, business owners, etc. So all of these things will of course be kind of unfolded in the next talk, but I kind of want to kind of express my feelings on a few things that are happening as we speak here today. We many times what happens is we do not recognize that many instances that are happening around us as we sit here are of extraordinary nature. An example is that let us think about Sri Krishna when he was living and actually on the field of Kurukshetra, when he was giving the greatest philosophical discourse in the form of a song, that is the Bhagavad Gita. Many, very few people recognized him as being historic or of any kind of divine portions. And that happens every time. You know, when things are happening around us, we don't recognize the historicity of it. For example, the biggest things that we are seeing around us, which we don't recognize and put it in our minds that this is something historical, we are witnessing it. And what are those things? For example, climate change, for example. Mumbai this time where we are sitting from, at least where I am sitting from, and hardly had winter for 3-4 days. And in the last week or something, there have been actually a lot of rains, and in places which are unseasonal rains. So things are happening, and right now it's just the early part of April and it's kind of scorching hot. Climate change is real. You like it or not, you believe it or not. Just a few years ago, we saw COVID in its full fury. The last time a pandemic hit the entire universe was in 1920, exactly 100 years ago. We are in between, we never witnessed this kind of a pandemic of this proportion. So this is something historic, but because it has passed by, we have lived through it, we have survived it. We don't recognize that that was something history in the making. That is historical. The current war that we are seeing, Israel, USA versus Iran, is almost close to World War III. I hope it is not. But the kind of things that are more and more countries are getting involved one way or the other, willingly or unwillingly. It takes us back to 1945 when World War II ended. So 80 years ago. So a lot of things that happened several decades or years ago are happening right now in front of us. So these are historical things that are happening which we must make note of. But it would not be complete if we ignore what has happened in the world of computing. That is artificial intelligence. Just a couple of years ago, it was kind of just a murmur, a little talk here and there. Today, AI in one form or the other is actually installed in all the phones. It's pre-installed in all the smartphones. It's going to change our lives in ways that we can't even fathom. And people are still wondering, even the inventors are kind of worried which way the AI is going to take us. So this is again an historical change. This is nothing compared to the 2K bubble. Those of you who remember, about 25, 26 years ago, there was this scare in the internet that what will happen when the date changes, because until then the date was DDMMYY. So if it was 8th of April, it would be said 080499. That means 1999. But what happens when it is when the 2000 year comes? Would it be 00? Would that kind of cause a tremendous upset? But so that was a big thing that happened 25, 26 years ago. But what AI is doing is beyond that thing. And it is it will affect business transactions and business operations also. And this is where the plastics industry must take into account. The plastic industry should also take into account the reality that we are living in a VUCA world. VUCA, as we know, stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. This VUCA world is seen through transnational conflicts, which cause supply chain disruptions, such as the protracted wars between Russia and Ukraine, Hamas attacks in Gaza on 7th of October 3 years ago, the Houthi attacks that happened in Red Sea, which caused supply chain disruptions, and smaller wars, which of course did not reach to the point of disrupting supply chains, such as Operation Sindoor, our own, And then the Thailand, Cambodia conflicts that have happened and other things. There are political turmoils that are also happening. Sri Lanka, the Nepal, the Bangladesh turmoils that happened, these are political in nature. And the biggest one that before this World War III like situation happened was the assault of tariffs that the wealthiest nation inflicted on the world. The randomness of it. There is no logic to it. So these are the kind of uncertainties that the business world has to survive. Everybody has to survive, but since we are a business community, I'm just drawing your attention to these points. So these are causing a lot of VUCA situations, but at the same time, there are also technological advances that are happening which we had never known. For example, the advent of blockchain. Similarly, what future holds for us, the uncertain impacts. We all know, I don't know if how many of you have been watching it, but in this, amidst this whole US-Iran conflict, a phenomenal thing has happened in terms of Artemis 2, the launch of Artemis 2 by NASA. And this is just in preparation of a larger intent that the USA wants to establish a permanent station on the southern side of Moon by 2028, a permanent station to explore minerals and space technology. Now, what this would have, because this in turn would have an impact on the rare earth materials which China is holding on to ransom, and we don't know what contours this will take. So these are future uncertain impacts. At the same time, in India, there are positive impacts that are happening. For example, just two news we must note, and we should not dismiss them as something far off, because they will affect us in a positive way. And that one is that India's firm strides in wind energy, which was announced, we have already reached 10% of our energy supplies through wind energy. But more important, which is kind of at least which should be occupying our mind with pride, is the India's successful stage 1 success of nuclear technology using our indigenous materials of thorium. So with this indigenous source of fuel, our dependence on a lot of these conventional fuels and all will diminish. So these are positive impacts which we should constantly note of. We as an industry, I would just like to exhort, cannot be an association or individual players which only purpose is to kind of maximize profits. Of course, maximizing profits is the purpose of businesses, but we must also learn to come together as business entities. Plastics industry. Plastics was a material, a wonderful material. Many of people like me and got PhD in this subject because it was a wonder material at that time, and suddenly we find ourselves being vilified or subjected to several forces, such as regulatory frameworks that we are going to discuss. Then there are judicial interventions that are happening. Not many here. I'm not sure how many of you know, but as we speak, there are at least 4 judicial cases that are happening which will impact the plastics industry. Then there is an ongoing international treaty which, because of this the conflict in the West Asia, it has stalled, but otherwise that was almost kind of taking big leaps towards conclusion, wherein the plastic industry will face real threats, one of the threats being the capping of the production of primary plastics. So these are some things which are going to take place in real terms. And alongside, the biggest things are the false narratives such as leaching, the issue of microplastics, but the most important is chemicals of concern. It is a hidden narrative, but that is something that is just lurking to happen. So I just painted this broad picture so that we know when we see this unfolding of the amendment and the details of the amendment, we keep in mind that it is time for the plastic industry to take note of this VUCA world and do best what we can to serve not only our business interests but our country's interests as well. And the biggest thing that we can do is ensure quality. Quality is something which India, the government is doing whatever it has to do. It is kind of negotiating treaties in a very delicate, balanced manner. But something, and it's trying its best to the extent possible to make our country self-reliant through Atmanirbhar efforts and all. But what is it that we can contribute as an industry to the national pride and to the national contribution and to our own profits is, in my opinion, attention to quality. And the other thing is coming together of the industry. I stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving a great insight into this today's session and the current scenario. Of course, there are critical times that we have faced across, but at the same time, we see a great ray of hope coming in for the proactive approach of the government, who has managed not only just managed the crisis, but also given us an opportunity to look forward for how Atmanirbhar we can be with these initiatives of the PWM policies and other such relevant policies, which is also showing us the journey towards to the sustainability part of it as well, and meeting the global standards as well. So while we are going to wait for Alka ma'am to join us for the session and give us a special address, with the permission of all the panelists and the speakers, I would like to have a presentation on the decoding to be started. Next slide, please. So we are going to speak on the critical decoding on the CPCB plastic waste management policy as a first policy, where we have seen the draft coming in on the 3rd of June 2025 with a 60 days window for giving suggestions. For sure, this was one of the very proactive approach taken by the industry, by the government, and also a participation proactively came from the industry. A lot many representations were done. A lot many interactions were done with the stakeholders. And finally, on 31st of March, after extensive interactions between the stakeholders, the policy was implemented. And what this amendment is going to be is something that Anant Tatwa has decoded in a minutest way, word to word. And today we are going to share the details. Next, please. Next, please. So what are the critical aspects that we are coming over here? One is with regards to the recycling. Second is the use of the recycled plastic content. Third is with regards to the reuse part of it. Fourth is with regards to the end of life disposal. Next, please. Chain number 1, we are looking at the rule number 3, critical on the definitions. Definitions play a very critical role for actually identifying who is eligible and what has to be done. One of the first amendment that came across was on the definition of the end of life disposal, which was made very clear when it comes to the materials that would be considered as end of life. The first one that we had was speaking about as an old notification as road construction as per the Indian standards and Congress to be excluded. But this time, as per the revised definition, road construction comes under the end of life disposal, which makes a broader perspective and coverage of the end of life material treatment. Next, please. The second, we are going to see on the plastic waste processing definition, where we had the plastic waste processing means any process by which plastic waste is handled for the purpose of reuse, recycling, co-processing, or transformation into new products. What is the new notification stating? It says the plastic waste processing means any process by which the plastic waste is handled for the purpose of reuse, recycling, co-processing, or transformation into new products or generation of energy as well. Next, please. Third, the plastic waste processor definition further also speaks about involving the recycling of the plastics waste or entities engaged in disposal of waste. Next, please. The fourth definition, which spoke about the inclusion of the local bodies, wherein the word as urban local body or any authority that has been identified will be a part of this particular PWM policy as a stakeholder. Next, please. The very critical one, which we have been hearing, but now it is actually on papers as well, the audits and the compliances. It has been stated across that the registered environment auditors means environment auditors as defined under the environment audit rules, which speaks about means a certified environment auditor or a firm or a body or a corporate comprising of 2 or more certified environment auditors who meet this criteria of registration as specified in the guidelines and are registered by environment audit designated agency for undertaking the environment audit and for performing such other functions as prescribed by the government. Certified auditor means an individual certified by the Environment Audit Designated Agency will be recognized and qualified as an environment auditor. PIBOs and PWPs must be fully prepared for the formal audits which is going to be starting, including the documentation, the readiness, the process validation, traceability. The reporting that has been done will now be done on a real-time basis and would be done in a detailed basis. Why I am emphasizing on this side is stakeholders, specifically the MSMEs, and in that small and micro, were given a kind of a picture that nothing in this policy should be taken as a serious matter while reporting by few stakeholders. However, it has been very clearly made across that audit and compliances would be critical and will be audited by CPCB and SPCB. It doesn't go only with the reporting, it also goes with your material that has been reported as well. Hence, whatever you report goes on records and is liable for audit. And that audit should be proven correctly, for which the understanding of the compliances, as there are tens or twenties of the compliances, are defined already in the PWM policies, which many of them are not aware of, will be audited during the process of the CPCB. Next, please. And I'm proud to say that Anantatva has not only just decoded, but also identified that critical compliances and also has been implementing such compliances and audits for many of the organizations in detail. What is the environment audit rules speaking about? It speaks about the environment audit by the designated agencies, by the RPL and the NCE, which is the recognition of prior learning or structured national certification exams. Rule number 9 speaks about the registration validity of 5 years unless revoked, and registered environment auditor, random method. Role of registered auditors has been clearly defined, where it speaks about environmental audits, sampling and analysis, report violation, non-compliance, commute, verify, self-compliance reports, which I have already stated across, act as a designated agency. ADA responsibilities also comes in setting the eligibility criteria, monitoring the REA, taking disciplinary actions, which include suspension, withdrawal, and cancellation, maintaining publicly accessible online register of all auditors, publish annual report within 6 months. The code of conduct and penalties includes the strict confidentiality, no conflict of interest, misrepresentation, penalties, and opportunity of hearing would also be given. Next, please. The environment audit rules speaks about the purpose. It also speaks about the audit process, the key integrations, and the steering committee, which have all been specified across. I'm sure many of the stakeholders would be new to this particular terms and also the processes. Next, please. We are glad to share that the National Productivity Council has been designated as in first environment audit designated agencies also. It has been available on the news on the public platform also. And we are going to see this agency as the ADA with regards to the CPCB and the audits for APR. We are going to see further the role that the NPC would also be playing across. Next, please. Chain number rule. It speaks about the marking and labeling. Now, marking and labeling, I'm sure many of the stakeholders either would be aware of it, but many few would be implementing. Rather, many of them would not be knowing as well. So what the old notification spoke about? The old notification spoke about the contents to be mentioned across. However, there's an additional aspect. It is marking and labeling, applicable requirements, by the FSSAI guidelines in respect of the food contact has been clearly stated across. PIBOs must ensure, please go back. PIBO must ensure that correct labeling and validated recycled content usage has been done and declaration has been given. Compliance with FSSAI norms on especially the food grade packaging has been certified as per the FSSAI norms. Compliance with regards to the Indian standards of 14534 2023 is to be followed across. Next, please. The rPET material with food grade packaging shall be having marking as per the guidelines of FSSAI for acceptance. We are glad to share that Anantatwa has been working with the brands for implementation of this particular marking and labeling standards since a year back when this draft was already issued, and many of the brands have successfully implemented it and aligned way back before the time. Until this notification today, they have the products with this marking and labeling on the shelves, which gives them complete awareness and the fulfillment of the compliances as well, and gives a commitment of transparency to your customers as well. So the rPET packaging material with food grade shall have to follow the FSSAI guidelines for acceptance of the recycled PET as a food contact material. The above example represents as an indicative example of FSSAI compliance on marking labeling. Additional requirements shall all be applicable as per the guidelines released by the FSSAI. Next, please. Chain number 3 on prescribed authority. That's rule number 12, wherein the scope has been clearly stated across and the jurisdictions of the local bodies has been clearly stated, also with regards to the Gram Panchayat and the Panchayat at the district level as well. Next, please. Rule number 4, the chain number 4, rule number 16. The state level monitoring committee has been quite aligned and specifically designated with the complete hierarchy given over here. Next, please. Chain number 5, the schedule for the obligation of use of recycled plastic content. The use of recycled plastic means the post-consumer recycled plastic used as a raw material instead of virgin plastics in the manufacturing process to meet the mandates of the Government of India. Very important, and I would like to draw the attention of all the stakeholders that the slides from here on are very critical to understand from the regulatory perspective, from the statutory perspective, from the compliance perspective, from the supply chain perspective, and also the designing perspective. So the obligation of use of recycled content, we have already seen across, wherein the old notification spoke about the percentage of plastic manufactured for the year. In new, it is speaking about the plastic packaging manufactured for the year. Now, the word packaging has been included for the producer. Second critical part, which I would like to make it very loud and clear, that producers, even if a small and micro, have to comply with the use of the recycled content. There is no exemption which has been given across so far in the policy in the use of the recycled content, because the compliance chain of the material traceability needs to be done at the source level, and hence every packaging material that has been produced by small and micro also needs to comply with the same. With regards to the importer, it is the percentage of the imported plastic for the year. In new notification, it speaks about the term packaging to be included. Same goes with the brand owner as well. It was earlier the percentage of manufactured plastic for the year. However, the term plastic packaging has been included. The recycled content PCR is going to be a game changer, wherein we are going to see a lot many new dynamics in the business models also that is going to be there, as compared to the traditional and conventional where the converters used to procure the virgin material. However, in this case, it would be more the responsibilities and obligations and liabilities of the brand owners to ensure that the procurement of the material is done from the right way, from the right source, who meets through the certification and standards of the Government of India, and also the audit and compliance are met and a proper record keeping is done. Hence, it would be a tri-party engagement than just a solo party engagement as compared to the past. Recycled content usage also gives an opportunity for the stakeholders to not only comply but also make sure that there are various revenue generation models in the sustainability world of currency. As we see, the new currency has already been there. In this session, we are going to also speak about that. And that gives the conversion, liability conversion to an asset creation. Next, please. The old notification spoke about any recycled plastic content used in the imported material. This for specifically the importers shall not be counted towards the fulfillment of the liability. The importers will have to fulfill its obligation of use of recycled content in quantitative terms through purchase of certificates equivalent from which producers, importers, and brand owners who have used the recycled content in excess of their obligation, CPCB to develop a mechanism for such exchange. In the new notification, it has been clearly stated across, any plastic used in imported material shall not be counted towards the fulfillment of obligation. The importer shall fulfill its obligation of use of recycled content in quantity through purchase of credits equivalent from such producers, importers, and owners who have used the recycled content in exchange. So, the purchase mechanism has also been clearly stated across. The target of mandatory use of recycled plastic in plastic packaging category wise as given shall not be applicable in cases where the use of recycled plastic in packaging is not permitted under a law or regulation or rule notified by Government of India or by statutory, again, Government of India. I'm being very specific when it speaks about the central government or statutory bodies such as the FSSAI, Central Drug Standard Control Organizations, or Central Insecticide Board, or mandatory Indian standards in force, or any other statutory requirements specified by the central government. Provided that while the claim of exemption under this provision, the producer, importer, or brand owner shall submit the applicable law. Now over here, we are trying to decode it further with the scenarios, possible scenarios, where obligation is to be fulfilled. The importer shall fulfill its obligation of use of recycled content in quantitative terms through purchase of certificates of equivalent quantity from PIBOs who have used the recycled content in excess. This is what exactly I covered in the earlier slide. That gives us that any stakeholder, specifically the brand owners and producers who use the recycled content in excess, will be having an opportunity to sell the credits from their own platforms and generate revenue out of it. Scenario number 2, the target for mandatory use of recycled plastics in plastic packaging category wise shall not be applicable in cases where use of recycled plastics in plastic packaging is not permitted under a law or regulation or rule notified by the Government of India. Now, this makes it more critical to also understand that this is going to be an industry-specific representation to the central government, to the CPCB, for seeking an exhibition. However, there are certain procedurals that needs to be followed across. There are multiple stakeholders, including the departments. It's not going to be a sole representation. It's going to be a complete supply chain representation that has to be made across. And we are glad that Anantatva has a complete end-to-end expertise and solutions and know-how for more than 20 years in this particular aspect, which we'll be doing it by hand-holding our stakeholders. Next, please. Obligation now for the exemptions for the eligibility, as we have seen already the draft notifications, and now we speak about the new notification. The technical exemption was mentioned in the draft, but it is not mentioned in the notification, which means this is very crucial to understand that only on the grounds of statutory and regulatory aspect, the consideration for exemption will be taken. Hence, the representation is not just going to be on the technical grounds, but it has to be backed up by the regulatory and authorities. So the involvement of the right stakeholders to ensure that representations are done in a right way is going to be very critical. Next, please. Obligation of use of recycled content. The bodies have been clearly stated across on application base. For food industry, it is FSSAI. For pharma industries, it is CDSCO. For the pesticides and agrochemical industries, it is going to be Central Insecticide Board or any other mandatory Indian standards in force. Next, please. Obligation for the recycled content for the PIBOs on the recycle part of it. We have the statutory guideline for audits already been given, and MLP content limit. Statutory we have means a law or regulation or a rule that has been mandatory as per the Indian standards or in force. Guideline for audit and verification of the recycled content in plastic packaging shall be prescribed by CPCB within a period of 6 months. Means that this guidelines for the audit of the material that you will be using as a recycled content, which you will be disclosing in your data and which will be claiming the benefits of it, are audited, and the same procedural guidelines will be given across. For the MLP, the target of the use of the recycled plastic content in case of multi-layered, that is category, shall be limited to the weight of plastic layers. This doesn't change the reporting terms for the EPR. The gross weight still remains into picture. Only for the recycled content, it has to be specific to the plastic content. Next, please. Obligation for the carry forward, again a critical aspect. While we have seen the exemption, now we are looking at the second critical aspect of it, which is on a carry forward, where the use of the recycled content as per the draft notification was given ahead. In the new notification is space that a PIBO is permitted to carry forward the unfulfilled target for mandatory use of recycled plastics in plastic packaging used in food contact applications only for a period of 3 consecutive years and above the target mandated for those years, ensuring that a minimum of 1/3 of the unfulfilled target of the past year is carry forward target is fulfilled in each year till the complete carry forward is completed. Now, this is very critical to understand that the carry forward of the unfulfilled target for the use of recycled content in plastic packaging used in food contact applications only. Hence, for the rest of the non-food based application, the mandate still stays. Next, please. There was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of clarity lack, and now this has been specifically worded over here. When it comes to the obligation, we have just created a detailed illustration. The carry forward, if we see on the table, the applicable recycled content is of 30% for the financial year 2025-26. The recycled content, if the target was 300 metric tons, actual recycled content achieved was 200 metric tons. Unfulfilled target is 100 metric tons. Minimum carry forward to be utilized during the year as per 1/3 rule. The total content recycled compliance required for the annual target plus carry forward is 300 metric tons. Post, if we go the carry forward part of it, 40%, that means 400 if the metric ton is the target. If the recycled content, actual recycled content achieved is 400. Unfulfilled target carry forward is 100. The minimum carry forward for the fulfillment 1/3 is of 33%. Hence, the total recycle compliance comes to 433. It has been specifically seen across as a minimum target that you have to fulfill for the food-based application on a year-to-year basis. Next, please. Change number 6. If you see the obligation of reuse, reuse means using a object or resource material again for either the same purpose or another purpose without changing the object's structure. Now, the old notification had a complete structure given. The new notification is completely based on 25-26, that 10%, 15%, 20% and 25% for food grade and non-food grade. For the volume which is of weight of 4.9 or higher for drinking water, again, this is limited for the drinking water. It goes as high as 70% to 85%. And anything that is beyond the 4.9 liters, other than drinking water, it is 10% to 15%. Provided that responsibility for ensuring the product quality and authenticity of the products being packaged and implementation of the mandatory standards or mandatory regulations shall lie with the concerned brand owner. Next, please. The new notification, again, for the reuse is speaking about the guidelines shall not be applicable in cases where the category 1 rigid plastic packaging is not permitted under a law, as we saw across same in recycled content as well. The technical exemption has been removed. The only considered is going to be the statutory exemption. Provided that while claiming certain under this provision, the brand owner shall provide the notification, the rules, the orders, the guidelines, the regulatory and the mandatory standards in the annual return on the portal, which means that there would be provision for declaration not just on the company's letterhead, but a complete backing of the documents. Statutory regulations shall mean a law or regulation that are in force. Next, please. Carry forward for brand owner. The new notification is permitted to carry forward the unfulfilled target to reuse for category N for the year of 25-26 for a period same as 3 years from 26-27 onwards and with the same mandate of 1/3. Next, please. A complete detailed analysis in this regards. The maths goes the same. And you can see this illustration where he's speaking about the year-on-year targets. And I'm sure that these targets would have a lot many queries to be resolved across. We can take up after this session. Next, please. Obligation for reuse. The brand owner shall furnish information on the total sales of use of virgin plastics content and recycled plastic content in rigid plastic packaging in the annual return on the portal developed by the CPCB. So complete reporting would be done across. And yes, the declarations of the data needs to be also validated because the audit are going to be in place for the declaration. Next, please. Obligation analysis, if we see on category 1 for the reuse, yes. 2, no. 2, 3, 4, 5, no. For UREP, category 1, 2, 3, yes. 4 and 5, no. For the recycle, category 1, 2, 3, 4, category 5, no. Next, please. It speaks about the schedule 2 in paragraph 12, the next change, that's change number 7, wherein it speaks about the new notification of the CPCB by itself through a designated environmental registered auditor shall do the compliance verification on a periodic basis as deemed appropriate. And the CPCB as required can also verify the compliance of PWB through inspection and periodic audit, which means the complete chain would be audited and hence the data keeping, the data would be very crucial, integration. And that has to be backed upon by the proofs of the material side of it. Now, this would be very critical that if this data changes, then even the declarations on ESG reports would also be impacted under scope 3. And hence, the companies need to be very specific because any declaration in ESG is also going to be seen across and audited by CAG, which comes under the very strict declarations and audits as controlled by SEBI and RBI as well. Next, please. Chain number 8, where we see in paragraph 13. Next, please. I'm sorry, the transition is taking a little bit more time, but that's always with the digital part of it. Request to kindly bear with us for some time. Again, speaking about the auditors part of it, where it speaks about the PWP auditors developed by the portal of CPCB and on the EPR portal as well. Next, please. Yes, can we have the next slide, please? Yeah, now this was with regards that we had on the complete amendment part of it. Now, a quick glance on the compliances extended version that we are speaking about on the audit. Now, let's see the roadmap that has been seen across and observed a complete pattern on CPCB for the EC part of it, how critical it is. And that was seen across in the show cause notices that was been issued currently by CPCB. And a complete chain has been seen on how crucial the compliances are going to be. Next, please. When we saw the complete roadmap of this decoding of this SCN, we found across that the clause number 7.5, which mandated the annual submission of the EPR targets, was been covered. Clause number 9.1, the introduced EC was covered. Clause number 9.2 was empowering the CPCB to prescribe, implement, and periodic update of the framework on calculation of collection and enforcement of the environmental EC was given. Clause number 9.3 and 9.4 assigning jurisdiction of EC by CPCB in EC for entities operating in more than 2 states were given. Clause number 10.6, the mandates for the PIBOs and manufacturers for compostable were given. Clause number 12.9, that may allow government for provides that central government may allow for filing of the annual returns, and that is within a stipulated time frame. Next, please. What is the EC refund mechanism and timelines? It spoke about the guidelines of the provision. EC does not remove the EPR obligation. Let's be clear. We have seen in these recent times that people talking about that if I surrender and re-register as a new company, the ECV would be waived off, the targets would be waived off. The government data are completely into the ecosystem and it stays for lifelong. Hence, nothing as such will be wiped out. The payment of the EC does not remove the EPR obligation. Let us understand that. The unfulfilled EPR carpet can also be carried forward for 3 years. If the obligation is fulfilled within 3 years, the EC refund is applicable. If not fulfilled within 3 years, EC will be forfeited. What is that EC would be refunded? If you have done in 1 year, 75% of the EC would be refunded. Within 2 years, 60%. Within 3 years, 40%. Timeline is from 23 onwards and it goes up to 30th June for the companies which are financial year obligated in 22-23. Important for PIBOs, EC payment done alone is not compliance. Credits must be purchased and generated. Documents required for proof and refund depends on timeline. Now, I wanted to address over here that all the companies who are dealing with the suppliers, if a brand owner is complying with the completely aligned with the mandates of the government and is fulfilling the obligations of the annual returns, however, if the supplier is not fulfilling the obligations, then that is also the responsibility of the brand owner. And it goes same for the producer as well as the manufacturer also. And in same place for the importers as well. Hence, it is very critical to ensure that your complete supply chain management is fulfilling the entire compliances of annual returns. There are more than 3,000 companies who are listed over there for non-compliance. I would request all the stakeholders to please see that list of the companies to verify whether your supplier or your customer is fulfilling the compliance requirement mandates. Next, please. Obligated parties, we already know who are the obligated parties in this regards. Next, please. Now, it speaks about the compliance status for area SCN 1, that's Shogos Notice 1, speaks about the compliance of the annual returns filed for 22-23 and shortfall in the targets of 22-23. Obligated entities are producers, importers, and brand owners, as that was the only entities which were liable during that particular time. I request all the stakeholders who are under the impression that I have done my annual returns, and I need not need to be worried of others, especially my suppliers, then it's a false illusion. We need to ensure that your compliances are being fulfilled by your suppliers as well. We have Dr. Alka Rao ma'am joined with us. I request the admin to please accept her. Welcome, ma'am, to the webinar. I'd like to take a pause over here for a moment as we have Dr. Alka Rao ma'am joined with us. Ma'am, am I audible to you? Can the admin please confirm?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, she has joined with us. We'll wait for her to address the audience. Till the time, we'll continue for this presentation. Next, please. So, the SCN 1 Showcase notice also spoke about the rule number 19, where it spoke about the 5 years. Let us see the EC and the financial risks attached to it. The rule number 19 of the PWM rules and section 15 of EP, Environmental Protection Act of 1986. It speaks about the 5-year jail or 1 lakh rupees fine, 5,000 per day fine, and imprisonment may extend up to 7 years. Plus, the EC guidelines of the minimum tonnage of category 1 of 2,900 per metric ton, category 2 of 5,000, category 3 and 4 of 7,900 per ton. For second default, it would be into 2 times per tonnage, and the third default would be 3 times. EC can be carried forward for 3 years. Hence, you see that not many companies have got such a big amount for EC also. Next, please. Next, please. Now, when we see the non-fulfillment target as well, the SCA2 also spoke about the AR not filed and the shortfall as well. And the obligated entities were producers, importers, and brand owners. Next, please. Again, the same guidelines. However, the addition over here would be the annual return fees as well. Next, please. SCN 3 spoke about the AR not filed, and it was on the small and micro entrepreneurs, especially the producers. Now, this is what we had mentioned across, that even the small and micro entities, those who are exempted, need to comply with. And this is what has been given. As per the 10.6 guidelines, the PIBO, including micro and small, are required to submit their annual returns on the EPR portal. Next, please. The EC financial risk for them, it was about the Rule 19 and plus the AR return fees as well. Next, please. Why will the CPCB reopen the window for 22-23? Up to 9 months extension for the reason of recorded in writing until the 3 years of the EC timeline. 2 notices and EC was levied. Next, please. Now, how can it is more on an operational part of it? Use of EPS certificates available from the wallet, offset to be done across, and the certificates can be adjusted to fulfill the gaps. Next, please. Ensuring the EPR compliance and mitigation. Next, please. And that's where we present Anand Tattva has come up with his call as Anand Tattva EPR Kavach. I'm going to give a small brief about it today, and we can have a detailed discussion with the stakeholders on this. Next, please. So we have seen across that until today, the compliance was more about reporting on a self-declaration part on the portal reporting and audit-driven enforcement. However, that is the 5 core reasons of audit failure as well. The supplier reporting is going to be affecting our business. It has to be going across to as down and as detailed on an SKU level, where including the suppliers, the customers, and contract manufacturer compliance needs to be done across as well. The broken material traceability would also be procured across, and the traceability breaks specifically when it comes to recycled content, which you will be finding across when you do the obligations for 25-26. All the manual data that has been into the ecosystem needs a complete validation with your physical audits as well. And that goes to your plant level when it comes to the audits of the material on SKUs, single SKU wise. Now, once that is done across, you will come to know which supplier is defaulting on the compliances, whether the report we have seen across in an extensive survey that we have done in the market. Many of the reporting on the polymer grades are done wrong by many stakeholders, specifically by the brands, because the carry forward of the same and the reporting is done by the producers, which impacts your compliances. For example, if I am using across a bottle, we have seen the two cases over here. In a bottle, there are HDPE caps, there is a PET bottle, there is a LDP label. However, the reporting is done for a complete bottle in the PET category. Second, when it comes to the reporting of the reuse content as well, the container size are also being included of the bottles as well as the caps and all. That needs to be done on a very critical basis. And for that, the identification of the supplier needs to be done on a crucial basis, and handholding them is crucial. Structuring that reporting on a unified system on a single dashboard is critical, because that's going to give across the forecast of supply chain. At the same time, it's going to give a complete forecast across on your inventory from a virgin polymer side, also in the recycled content side, which will again decide that what you are declaring when the material reaches to your customer, which is on packing and labeling. That's marking and labeling. And that's where the PCR mandates would be actually accepted, because that audit, when done across, would be going as detailed to the SKU level, the polymer level, the supplier level, and the recycler level. The key risk involved in that is misreporting on CPCP portal. The audit failures would also be as critical as the credit red flags as well. In case we were doing for the UREP as well, that would also make complicated for you to claim the UREP benefits as well. The environmental compensation and the delays and rejection. Next, please. So what is that Anand Tatva has done over here? It has given a complete solution on end-to-end traceability of the sustainable material, including the supply chain forecast, the polymer forecast, the financial forecast, the impact on the regulatory aspect of it, the guidelines and the EC mandates part of it, and complete giving a direction for your roadmap for next 5 years as aligned by the policy, which would further integrate into as details of your global policies as well. How that could be done across is what is the expected, not only just by us, by the CPCB as well. And this is well written in the policy. It speaks about the governance and system integration, mandatory periodic audits. It speaks about the 100% supply chain registration, including all their stakeholders, triple streamline of data, physical stock, financial records, and CPCB portal filings, material traceability and standards, verifiable transaction trails, mandatory marking and labeling, and mandatory use of the PCR content. This is what is expected from you. Next, please. And that's where the coverage would play a critical role, where the physical audits and the ground validation of the data and your digital framework would be validated. A complete dashboard would be given on a single source basis on an SKU wise, going to an end detail, working with the finance team, with the procurement team, with the operations team, with the production team, with the packaging team, with your suppliers, with your recyclers, and ensuring that you as a stakeholder can focus on your business, and we take the responsibility of the complete, not just the compliance fulfillment, but even for your product as well. Pillar number 3, it speaks about the audit, ESG, reporting, readiness. What you do is reported in EPR, but what you do is also going to be impacting your ESG. Hence, EPR coverage is going to reduce the audit risk and penalties. It's going to be continuous compliance system, ecosystem, regulatory confidence and readiness, and business readiness. Next, please. Next, please. I am done with this particular presentation. I'm thankful to all the stakeholders for being patient for taking up this particular presentation for such a long time. But these were critical aspects that needed to be covered in this particular session. However, before we move on to the question and answer session, I would like to invite Bharat Mehta sir. Until Alka Rao ma'am joins with us, she's there already, but she will be going live on the session very soon with us. I would invite Bharat Mehta sir, Vice President of PACE and Reliance Industries as well, to please share his views on the new amendments and the journey as well.
Namaskar, Vanakkam, Jai Shri Krishna to all. You must have all heard the term plastic is fantastic. आप सबने सुना होगा, but is plastic waste fantastic? ऐसा नहीं सुना होगा. I think जो ये plastic waste management amendment rules 2026 हैं, it is for this purpose that plastic waste also becomes fantastic. And this is the sort of मोदी जी भी बार बार कहते हैं, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी, waste to wealth. This is what it is about, how to handle the plastic waste also becomes fantastic. आपका fossil fuel से बना हुआ feedstock नहीं चाहिए, आपको low carbon footprint वाला material से ही plastic वापस बनाना है. This is one perspective I wanted to say. Then बुजुर्गों ने कहा है जो सस्ता है वो बिकता है. But धीरे धीरे ये वर्ड आ गया सस्टेनेबिलिटी. इट इज ए कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ टू वर्ड, सस्ता प्लस इनेबिलिटी. लोग बोलते भैया हमें नहीं चाहिए, थोड़ा महंगा है. बट नाउ you look at the war situation today, there is a rush for recycled PET because sasta plus inability has become sasta plus inability. It has got enabled. So now I think everyone, this is brought in the radar of all the companies that इसको इग्नोर नहीं करना चाहिए. This is something like insurance policy आपने लेके रखा है, कभी जरूरत में काम आएगा. So always have rPET or recycled content in your system. I think इतना तो एक importance आ गया है. And कृणाल भाई ने एक जो स्लाइड दिखाई थी, वो स्लाइड नंबर 27, where they had this recycled content policy. For me it is like a musical note policy. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, सारे गामा पा नी सा 30 40 50 60 FY 26 27 28 29 ऐसा ही लगता है वो. सो बट एक्चुअली क्या हो रहा था लास्ट ईयर, द अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ सा, तो पहला जो 30% है, दैट वाज इटसेल्फ नॉट अवेलेबल. सो मंत्रालय हैड पोस्टपोन्ड दैट, जितना आपको 30% कंज्यूम करना, यू स्प्रेड इट ओवर द नेक्स्ट 3 years. And this is what has happened. But on 31st March 2026, MOEF has come out with the notification that 40 50 60 करना है, and जो पिछला जो रह गया है उसका भी 1/3 आप पूरा करके अपना कर्तव्य निभाइए स्वच्छ भारत का. So this was about it. And if I come to the like talking on rPET, because I'm supposed to speak on PET, Haren bhai will speak on other aspects. Today, there are almost 24 producers who are putting up rPET plant in India. 11 have already installed, and they have 17 lines, and they're all FSSAI approved. Close to 300,000 tons is already FSSAI approved rPET, which you can buy and blend or use it 100% in your beverage, in your hair oil, or in your edible oil. So that is available today. And another close to 170 to 192,000 tons to be precise is awaiting various stages of approval at FSSAI, as we know today. So in the next 3 months, we will have very close to 500,000 tons of rPET available in India. And looking at the overall PET consumption, it's 2 million tons, but उसमें pharma भी है, and export भी हो जाता है. Then you have to, there is sheet and strap. So मोटा 1.6 million ton अगर आप देखें, and 80% is food grade. So 1.3 million ton का 40% is close to 520,000 tons. So the availability of rPET and uh, and the requirement will be almost with a small deficit. Availability will be there. At the same time, there are opportunities to export. कुछ obligation भी है जिन्होंने मशीनें लगाई हैं, they have to export. EPCG scheme or whatever they have taken. So there is availability, a little bit of shortage, but the situation is much better than last year when the availability was itself a challenge. So I think this is what I wanted to say, that this is what it looks like. And I think it's already 4:10. I think there are other speakers. Krunal, I'll hand it over to you back कि आप दूसरे speaker की तरफ ले जाएं, so that all Dr. Alka Rao जी भी शायद आगे होंगे. We are very eager to hear her. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much, sir, Bharat sir. It has always been a great insight from your end, specifically when it comes to the PET part of it. As you have already mentioned, that plastic is also a music, especially the Sare Gama part. I always like about that you have disclosed and make it more easier part to have kind of an implementation part of it. While we have seen the PET part of it, I would like to. PET is more organized. It is more on the RPET part of it that we have seen the activeness of the stakeholders as well, including the government side of it. FSSAI, where we'll be having Dr. Alka Rao ma'am's guidance also and address. But I would like to invite Haren Sanghvi sir to give a complete perspective. He's been also the co-chairman for the Environmental Committee of IPA and past president as well. From the rest of the polymers and also the producers' perspective, sir. I would like to have a quick view from your end in this regards.
See, India actually still relies heavily on imports of plastic petrochemical feedstock, especially when it comes to specialty and engineering polymers. And because of this new EPR guidelines, demand has, sort of going to be shifted to PCR-based resins. If as Bharat Bhai said, from 30 to 60% PCR. Now, if that is going to be the guidelines, then at some stage it will be only 40% of virgin polymers compared to 60% of PCR. So that's where demand for recycled waste, recycled granules would be in a big way more demanded. There actually more formalized recycling infrastructures would be required. So that is where we see a lot of increase in quantum, and brands that can credibly prove higher PCR content reuse and traceability will gain regulatory and marketing advantage, while virgin only and low traceability players may face compliance related costs and reputational pressures. This is, I think, more or less regarding the polymer market conditions today.
Sir, thank you so much. Yes, there has been this. We would see this as an opportunity for all the stakeholders, especially the small and micro would be having a great opportunity if they take a proactive approach. Because there has been the first time that there has been a paradigm shift on the supply chain management where they're looking at new suppliers also. This never happened in the past. But this policy is giving an opening and door for all the stakeholders who have been actively participating. The RFPs, the tenders we have seen across, the engagement that we do at a very senior level and various standards, we see a acceptance level been there by the not only procurement but from the management as well. To looking at the right partners who give them the roadmap for next 5 years, 10 years, rather 50 years as well, because all the major organization has set their targets for sustainability and ESG, and that's where every stakeholder would be critical. Yes, every supply chain partner makes a difference who has been associated, but the journey and the demand changes, which is the reason the scope and horizon for the new players has been wide open now. So with this, I would like to have a complete perspective different coming in from Anand Bhai, who is also the founder and director from Anantatwa, to who is there with us. Anand Bhai, you have been a financial market expert and you have spent more than 20 years in this market. And with regards to the plastic industry, I do recall the journey way back in 2017, where you were the first one talking about the electronic trading platform coming in, and where stakeholders used to not take it seriously. And today, when we speak in 2026, the entire ecosystem is shifting to a digital platform. How do you see this as an opportunity for the stakeholders, and how do you see the way forward from here? Over to you, Anand Bhai.
Namaskar. Good evening, everyone. And thank you very much, first of all guests, all stakeholders who join and who support always. So, just I would like to say only one sentence and start with it. हमारे एक गुरु थे जो हमें कहते थे, पंछी का बने परैया, नर का कुछ ना होए, नर अगर ऐसी करनी करे, तो नर का नारायण होए. Trust me, you have this option in your entire life, and now you are entering in fantastic era. So I'm very much bullish, first of all. Whatever is going on, the war or any impact on finance or any product, I'm very much bullish. मुझे ऐसा लगता है 100 साल का दौर चालू हो रहा है, स्पेशली फॉर एसएमईज, जिसने आज तक कभी सोचा भी नहीं था कि मैं अपने आप को 10 फोल्ड 100 फोल्ड या 1000 फोल्ड बना सकता हूं. एंड दैट इज व्हाट इन एनएससी हैज डन, जो वो एसएमईज के लिए एक प्लेटफॉर्म ले आए. द सेम वे इंडियन गवर्नमेंट हैज इंट्रोड्यूस दिस फैंटास्टिक पॉलिसी, जहां 200 कंट्रीज में से 106 कंट्रीज के साथ क्रॉस ट्रेड पॉलिसीज ओपन कर दी. समझने लायक बात है. मैं जब इसके ऊपर रीड करता हूं, सो आई एम वेरी मच बुलिश. व्हाई? बिकॉज आई हैव सी द मेनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज ओवर हियर. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, जो कुछ नहीं कर पा रहे थे उनके लिए बड़े दरवाजे खुल रहे हैं. एग्जाम्पल, द रिसाइकलिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी बिजनेस, कार्बन क्रेडिट बिजनेस, वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम. ये किसने सोचा था आज तक? बट टुडे इट इज हैपनिंग. ESG, environment, social and government companies, global fund are ready to shift trillions of money. They are ready to invest trillions of money in this kind of project. जिनको कुछ पता नहीं है, वो EPR को कहते हैं एक्सटेंडेड प्रोड्यूसर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, बट हम इसे कहते हैं एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट रिसोर्स. मैं एक स्मॉल एग्जांपल से समझाना चाहता हूं. एक एसएमई एक बिजनेसमैन है जो 5 से 10 करोड़ का बिजनेस कर रहा है. आज से पहले आपने कभी सोचा था कि आप इस बिजनेस में, इस पॉलिसी में, इस सीपीसीबी के पोर्टल पर रजिस्टर्ड होके जो रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है उनके बिजनेस टेक ओवर कर सकते थे? किसी ने नहीं सोचा था. बट टुडे दिस ऑप्शन इज विथ अस. वी हैव टू एनकैश इट. वी हैव टू गेट रजिस्टर्ड डन ऑन द पोर्टल, और इस एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट रिसोर्स को एनकैश करना चाहिए. हमें प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी को बनाना चाहिए. मैं इसमें थोड़े से और गवर्नमेंट की ओर से एग्जांपल देना चाहूंगा कि व्हाट बेनिफिट वी हैव इन सस्टेनेबिलिटी. हमारी सब्सिडी, टैक्स बेनिफिट्स, कार्बन क्रेडिट्स बेनिफिट्स, इवन इन ईपीआई यूरेप क्रेडिट्स बेनिफिट्स. किसने सोचा था ये हो सकता है? बट आज हो रहा है. मैं आप सब लोगों को एक दिशा देना चाहता हूं. दृष्टि चेंज करो. सृष्टि चेंज हो चुकी है. सब जितने भी स्पीकर्स अब तक बोल रहे थे, दे सेड एंड दे आइडेंटिफाई करेक्ट थिंग्स. वी हैव टू फोकस इन न्यू एरा सस्टेनेबिलिटी. रिस्क क्या है इसमें? कोई रिस्क नहीं है. पीपल आर सेइंग दिस पॉलिसी इज लायबिलिटी. यू आस्क अस, दिस इज नॉट अ लायबिलिटी. वी हैव डेवलप्ड मोर देन 10 tools where you can convert your liability into asset. You correctly listening this thing, you can convert your liability into asset. इससे पहले कब हुआ था ये जो आज हो रहा है? So trust me, just go blindly. Like in 1993, the Nifty was trading around only $500. आज 2026 में हम देख रहे हैं Nifty has made a high around 26,000 plus. काउंट कीजिए कितना रिटर्न मिला है. So this kind of opportunity is available in the market right now. After 3 years शायद नहीं मिलेगी, शायद ये भी नहीं होगा. And who has a vision for export market, for a domestic market, who would like to promote and create a strong brand, this is the right policy. Thanks to government, Abhiyan. thanks to all stakeholders, like all government bodies, who has created this historical policy. So jitni bhi industries hai, 9 commodities are there. You have a big option, you have a opportunity. मैं 2 हाथ जोड़ के रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं, पार्टिसिपेट कीजिए पॉजिटिव वे में. आपकी दृष्टि चेंज होगी, सृष्टि चेंज हो जाएगी. ट्रस्ट अस. लोग कहते हैं कि हम गिर जाएंगे, यहां गवर्नमेंट कहती है आप इस पॉलिसी से उड़ जाएंगे. So I would like to request you all, please participate with the positive manner, with the positive vision. रोड मैप बनाइए 100 साल का. गवर्नमेंट ने ESG फंड लॉन्च किए जो 10-12% एवरी ईयर रिटर्न दे रहे हैं. एंड हियर वी आर वरीड अबाउट द बिजनेस. सो यू हैव टू थिंक विद द डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव, क्योंकि अब तक वर्जिन था. नाउ सस्टेनेबिलिटी, रिसाइकल, कंटेन्स आर कम इनटू द पिक्चर. कमोडिटीज खत्म हो रही है. हमें सोशल लाइफ के लिए कुछ करना पड़ेगा, प्रकृति के लिए कुछ करना पड़ेगा, अपने बिजनेस के लिए भी कुछ करना पड़ेगा. ऐसी सारी विन विन सिचुएशन आज से पहले मैंने कभी नहीं देखी. आई हैव स्पेंट मोर देन 20 years इन इक्विटी. फॉर योर काइंड इंफॉर्मेशन, अनंत तत्व ने करीबन 4-4.5 लाख किलोमीटर लास्ट 7 साल में सेल्फ ड्राइव करके 12-13 हजार स्टेक होल्डर्स को मिलके फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट, विदाउट एनी एक्सपेक्टेशन, उनको खाली अवेयरनेस दिया है. आज भी हम वही काम कर रहे हैं, कल भी हम यही काम करेंगे. सो प्लीज सपोर्ट अस whenever we required or whenever you require. We are 24/7, 365 days. We are available for you people. Thank you all guests. Again, thank you all stakeholders who support us. And यही इसी से हमें बूस्टर मिलता है. तो आज हमें एक प्रण लेना चाहिए. आओ सब मिलकर भारत को विश्व गुरु बनाते हैं. कोई बनाए ना बनाए, अगर हमने बनाने का ठान लिया तो बॉस इसे कोई नहीं रोक सकता. सो अगर सब लोगों की, मतलब मेरे बात से अगर अग्री कर रहे हो तो स्क्रीन पे एक बार अपने आप को तालियां बजा के प्रमोट करो कि हम उस नए दौर में जा रहे हैं जहां निफ्टी ने 26,000, मैं कहता हूं आपका बिजनेस 2600 करोड़, 26,000 करोड़ या अनलिमिटेड प्रॉफिट का मार्केट में जा सकते हैं. सो वेलकम टू द न्यू एरा, एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट रिसोर्स, और एंजॉय किया जाए. थैंक यू वेरी मच. हर हर महादेव. हैव अ ब्लेस्ड इवनिंग. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anand bhai. Great perspective. In fact, this was a lovely one that is required across for all the stakeholders to understand कि मार्केट का देखने का नजरिया एक अलग भी है, because now the complete transition is happening on a digital platform. I am glad that we have Dr. Alka Rao ma'am with us. Ma'am, I would like to now invite you to give a insight from FSSAI perspective when it comes to the EPR policy, the reuse of the recycled content, especially for the food grade one. So with this, I request Alka Rao ma'am to please join us. Admin, can you just see if she is able to unmute? Admin, can you confirm, please?
Yes, sir. Okay, so now it's working. Hello everyone. नमस्कार सभी मौजूद participants, stakeholders. Normally, our experience has been more of dialogue that works better with stakeholders rather than monologues. So I'm more happy taking specific concerns or issues from all the members who are here right now, rather than me speaking anything per se. I'm very clear that all our members and you are very senior, Bharatji, I can see, Habbuji, Shailendraji, all the leadership of your sector is here. So the details of the regulations or the amendments, everything has been already discussed and people are aware what change is coming. I may not be, repeating the same thing again. Only thing I can share with you is that FSSAI has been committed
committed to not only facilitate the mandate of food safety, but also the mandate of the government as a whole, which includes making way forward to the CPCB and MOEFCC's vision of a circular economy through their regulation. And we are very proud that in last 1 year, we have not only brought the regulation around approval of the recycled PET uses in the food packaging, but also we have enabled the framework. We have completely all with our teething troubles and with our challenges, and in a very, very collaborative manner and in a very truly one nation manner. We have worked with the industry. Many of those are startups. So that way, and of course, some are veterans, and there's been a lot of learning. There has been a lot of uh, co-development kind of approach on both sides. We have held several consultations. We have held several discussions on whenever we are facing problem or we are learning about new things. So overall, I think my experience working with our packaging industry as an individual sitting in this chair has been fantastic and very positive and very, very, forward looking. So having said that, like today I learned, every day I'm learning. So whenever I'm talking to packaging industry, something new comes around. And today I came to know of this some ethylene vinyl alcohol polymer thing. So there are some stakeholders who were talking about the use of it and all. And I thought, uh, mm, for me, the better thing always is to learn from you guys and to address concerns, if any, from your end. So I straight away hand over this forum back to the audience, back to the present members. If you have any particular concern, any particular query from FSSAI, please let me know right now, and whatever I can address, I will do now, and other things we'll see.
Thank you
So
so
we,
much, ma'am. It has been a great. I'm really thankful to you that you had taken a valuable time and being a part of this. Yes, we all know that FSSAI and especially you have been always accessible for addressing the queries, ma'am. With regards to the clarification that people are eager to know from the EPR policy, and that's a generic survey that we have done across. Two things which is critical to understand, that when it comes to the audit norms for the traceability and for the compliances of the mandates of the recycled content, FSSAI role would also be critical in this regards. So how is the SOPs, or how is it going to be for validation of the quality aspects on the food grade contact? And what would be the role of FSSAI in the EPR part of it when it comes to the audit and the compliance fulfillment for the use of the recycled content, ma'am?
right. So traceability is a shared concern. Even our last meeting that we had held with all the RPET applicants and those who are manufacturing it right now, this is what we also have flagged from our end, although in a different context. Uh, but maintaining traceability records, not only at the time of submitting their initial dossier, but also subsequently throughout the life cycle of the product and processes. This is a common ask uh, to continue with that practice. And CPCB has categorically made it mandatory from the environment perspective, I can see. And in this regulation, that has come up as a very, emphatically, it has been brought out that traceability is going to be the key difference, or the key area of bringing more rigor, more structure, and to remove implementation hurdle. If you ask me truthfully, As such, FSSAI as on date doesn't have a framework. And the reason has been largely that last year we just started laying out the first set of, you can say, pavement has been laid. And now it is time step by step to add on to it. We are trying to build a database of all the packaging or manufacturing businesses who are dealing with food. Then another step would be to link it with CPCB's traceability framework and the modalities which CPCB is following. And I'm always of the opinion that in one country, it's always good that the regulators themselves align to each other. They try to see that where my regulation ends and where the other regulation begins, and that gap filling and that bridging we should do, and it is very much our responsibility. So we as a regulator would look forward to integration with the CPCB's traceability framework, and we'll see if there's any specific requirement emerges, which again I will and we will learn from you guys only as we go on interacting. In the month of May, we see a possibility of exclusive discussions on this issue only. Once there is some pending tasks are to be done. So maybe we'll become wiser by that time. And coming to the other meeting target, I see that already industry has taken it in a very positive way. A lot of mechanisms they have developed, buying of credits and all those. So as such, RPET is the only obligation from FSSAI's point of view, which even CPCB will ask you to comply with. The other materials we haven't allowed yet. There's another concern around primary and secondary packaging. So I think that also, because RPET is the only material, so those cartons and the secondary packaging material gives you scope to use recycled plastic and go on meeting those targets in that segment. So it's not necessary that food contact, the direct food contact material is the only way to meet those targets. So that's the way I would believe that these targets will be met. And in any ways, we are going to take up a lot of application this year. That is my hope. And a lot of new facilities will also come up. And I think I've answered whatever knowledge base I have as of now. Yeah.
Yeah. Ma'am, just a quick one in following up with that, because you have already mentioned that there are no standards laid down right now currently with regards to the materials apart from the pad. Now, this makes it a very also critical part of it, that for seeking the exemptions, the food contact material, yes, you have clearly stated that it's category 1, category 2, and category 3. It is not going to be specific as polymer side of it. The CPCB targets are very well defined as category wise, and hence the target fulfillment is not going to be a challenge if that's been taken in a very systematic approach, which we have seen across. That is possible if they go SKU wise implementation. Hence, the industry should also get a clear message, has got a clear message from ma'am. It's a category wise segregation on the targets, and hence that can be achieved quite easily. The roadmap from here for the other polymers, ma'am, how do you foresee specifically in the MLP part of it? Because that has been
Yeah, so I mean, this is a very difficult question for us also. In chat box, I can see one question is around PP, and then I also see that how to go ahead with the multi-layer packaging and all.
yeah.
So see, I'll say, if we have to, even as a consumer, even as a producer, manufacturer, if I have to delineate my priorities, always we have to remember that human health and human safety always comes first, even before the environment safety.
Correct.
So there must never be a confusion. So when you come to us and you try to tell us that हमको MOEFCC का mandate comply करना है. MOEFCC will never override FSSAI to force anybody into anything. This is there, and this amendment also in a way says the same thing, that if the other regulator has approved something, then you are not using, you are at a fault. But the other regulator hasn't approved, then MOEFCC is not going to force you, because last time also, for the last financial year, we supported industry's constraints. So MOEFCC did talk to us. They did take data from us. We told them that as of now, only this much facilities are working, only this much ton of or metric ton of recycled material is available. Considering that, they have taken their steps forward. So this will always continue without taking our inputs and the realistic picture into cognizance. They cannot probably pass standalone any such directions. And nonetheless, as I said, there are these secondary packaging avenues also available where recycled plastic will be going on. And PEPP is giving us some challenge. One, because with the other regulators, as we see, that traceability is the key. So the earliest we as a nation, you guys as an industry, the earliest we can establish the segregation protocols, the traceability protocols, and the assurance of that complete loop of recycling, where it is very clear that a food packet has gone back into food recycling, and that kind of assurance, that will be the game changer. Then probably these too many limitations with PEPP will slowly start fading away. And any regulator that has taken a lead and has given approval with PEPP, they have pretty much ensured that. And that is one way. Secondly, some of these discussions are at various stages in our statutory risk assessment bodies. And we are keeping all the industry in loop, especially the FBOs and the people who are dealing with FSSAI from the packaging industry also. So normally all our stakeholder consultations involve all of you, and we are constantly discussing with you. And with your joint consent only, the next set of directions will emerge from FSSAI. So FBOs also have their own set of concerns. It's not always about कि हमको ये सिर्फ recycle ही करना है. सेफ रिसाइकलिंग होना है, सेफ मटेरियल आना है, सेफ मटेरियल में फूड को जाना है. इवेंचुअली एफबीओ इज लायबल. तो फूड बिजनेस ऑपरेटर का पूरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है सारा का सारा इंश्योर करना. तो उनका जो फियर होगा उसको भी एड्रेस करना है हमको, सबको करना है, क्योंकि आपका माल भी उन्हीं को बिकेगा. तो हैविंग सेड दैट, ये सभी डिस्कशन चालू है और आप सब हमारे साथ रहिए, हमको थोड़ा अपना शेयर ऑफ नो हाउ दीजिए और हम काम करेंगे. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That's a great insight from you. And really, the industry was waiting forward to hear from you. This kind of insights are very rare, especially the industry interactions. Yes, there has been a multiple stakeholders interaction that has happened over the period. But this is something that have been addressing direct to such a large audience was always a kind of added value. So thank you for joining, ma'am, for this particular webinar. I'll now open, I'm sure you have an engagement also followed up. So in case, ma'am, you would like to present something else or viewpoint, because almost everything has been covered across. But we look forward for having more engagement sessions with you as Anant Tatwa. And of course, we have Dr. Habbu and Bharat Mehta sir and everyone who has been guiding across for FSSAI guidelines as well. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. So thank you for inviting me, and I would like to take leave now because there are other meetings. And
Sure, ma'am.
somebody in the chat said that maybe some members are aware, some are not aware. So the only thing we can tell you is that we are doing these consultations very, very regularly, and will request your, associations to share it with all of you. Whenever we are inviting, please feel free to share with all your stakeholders, concerned parties, and together we will make the difference for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
So
Thank
now,
you.
Thank you.
I am, with the permission of all the panelists, I'd like to have 5 questions from the audience who would like to take a